Officially 7 p.m. and I'd like to welcome everybody to the July meeting of El Sobrante, the Municipal Advisory Council. This is a council that advises the Board of Supervisors, particularly related to the El Sobrante unincorporated area in District 1. And Ronnie, can we start with the roll call?
Yes. Thomas Lang,
Here.
George Cleveland,
Here.
Jim Herman,
Present.
Dr. Melinda McLean,
I'm here.
Mickey Norris, Tom Owens,
Here.
Randy Lloyd,
Here.
and Terry Edlinger. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yes.
Here.
Yay.
Okay, can we have the treasurer's report?
Yep, we're still standing at $2,091.
And would anybody be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month's meeting?
Yeah.
And do we have a motion to approve?
So, I'll second.
Okay, can we take a vote?
All those in favor of approving the minutes from the June MAC meeting as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried.
Okay, in that case, thank you, and we will, Randy Lloyd's first vote, congratulations, Terry's first vote.
Yay.
All right. Okay, so
Can I make a brief point of personal privilege?
you may.
Ronnie, could our new members get name badges?
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll move into our,
Cards.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
so we'll move into our, regularly scheduled presentations. And we'll start off with the update from, John Joyous' office. Sonny.
Oh, look at that. He does it remotely.
Oh, yeah.
You just
Is there some pre-end zone celebration? If I get some Christian on the, all right. So, pretty brief, county update, in regards to the noise ordinance. County planning has developed a survey that has been distributed to all the, municipal advisory council, or MACs, within the county. And the findings of this survey and any recommendations will be reported to the Board of Supervisors of this 2024 year. Working group meetings will be scheduled no later than August 1st, and we anticipate convening multiple meetings over a several month period, primarily in the fall of this year, with the purpose of delving deeper into existing regulations, considering public input received, and considering priorities and review opportunities and constraints for adjusting and improving regulation and provide additional input. I know that, this has kind of been done before in the past, but we're just trying to make this a consolidated effort within the county itself. And so, not much of an update, but just letting you know that, the ball is moving forward, even though it may seem like at a glacier pace.
Hey, there's a list now of all the people on Max. I
Yes.
said that was the first problem.
Getting everybody, on the camera.
So that was my initial great struggle.
List was probably really hard.
And finally, August 31st, collaborative dumpster day event. Supervisor Joy's office will host another community dumpster day on August 31st from 8 a.m. until the dumpsters are full. The location for El Sobrante will be at the El Sobrante Christian School located at 5100 Argyle Road. This event will be in partnership with the City of Richmond and the East Richmond Heights MAC and various neighborhood councils within Richmond. as an effort to expand city-county collaboration. And for more information and decide to volunteer, for the El Sobrante location, here, you can always reach out to me directly. If you don't have my information, I can provide after,
Did you say it starts at 8?
8 a.m., yes.
I bet it's over by 8:30.
No.
All those people,
Are we,
all the Richmond people, I mean.
Yeah, okay.
It'll be more dumpsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get 40 yards at this location. We're gonna have one that's in Heights as well. So we're trying to, cast a wider net.
Yeah.
We've had some feedback from that end of the county that's saying, hey, so we're trying to include everybody, so. Yeah.
Quick comment, can we try not to keep making them on the holiday weekends?
We can make, yes, we can.
A lot of people do leave town.
Yeah, the scheduling is a little tricky because, we want to also make space for the cleanups that happen out here also on the third Saturday. So, the fourth Saturday usually is a little more wiggle room, so, but we can definitely.
It's a lot.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Stated from a true veteran.
Oh, yes.
Day veteran. Okay, you have.
No, that concludes my.
Okay, any questions from the council for Ronnie?
Yes.
Who do the cameras belong to?
We are still searching that.
And the sheriffs will be able to answer that question.
Yeah.
We don't know. Because it's like, they're really nice, right? It's like, who do they belong to? Okay.
so an hour we can wait.
Oh,
Your presentation.
we'll wait for your presentation better. I figured I was gonna ask if you answer.
Further council questions for Ronnie? If not, Bose, any questions for Ronnie? Chris?
Yeah, just a reminder, Catherine, that the Chamber of Commerce would like to know about things like the dumpster as far advanced as possible, because
Yeah.
they come on the calendar.
Yeah, the next one is August, and so I'll be reaching out to her just to make sure that's,
Yeah, other events that would be relevant to the chamber, and there's also like a couple sites.
Can I ask you about the cameras, the locations and?
Well, the sheriff's office.
Sheriffs are gonna talk to us
Oh, okay,
first.
All right.
They're up.
but
So-
is it for traffic or is it for like?
Well,
They're gonna-
they're gonna present that.
Uh,
Okay, so if there are no further questions for Ronnie, we have Michelle Reinhardt, who's visiting us in person.
If you look really nice in person.
Oh, thank you so much. I know that there's sometimes the officers and I recognize that they're on duty. I would.
You would yield,
I share time to the law enforcement.
Lieutenant Collins, why don't you and your colleague?
It's Stephen. Lieutenant Holland Sheriff's Office, this is Deputy Hookwater. She often works up here, so wanted to bring her by so you guys can get to know her. I'll go straight to the cameras first. They do not belong to us, they do not belong to county entity, they belong to Caltrans. They are for monitoring traffic, they are live record or live feed only, they do not record, they do not nothing. It's up on a screen somewhere in somebody's office, we're watching traffic.
but it's a live feed.
Live feed,
Wow.
like, does not record.
I thought one of them was the next one and, I was at a meeting where there were, representatives from the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department. And, John Joya was there also. And they were both talking about acquiring cameras and where should they put them to catch illegal dumpers or speeders or people who are passing over the double yellow line. Because, I experienced that and I thought you have a head-on collision on San Pablo Dam Road. It's terrifying.
Yeah, there's no cameras that will produce any traffic citations or monitor traffic for the sheriff's office. If a car goes over double line or is speeding, we don't have that technology training or the manpower to sit there, watch the cameras or to follow up with that, right? So if we have any cameras, the sheriff's office posts their license plate reader cameras, and just take a picture of the license plate. So if there's a house that was burglarized, we can look at, okay, maybe the neighbor saw a blue sedan. And we can go back and look, any blue sedans in the area around the time, and maybe get a license plate, and that's a lead for us to follow. So they're not, it's not like a live constantly recording camera, just when a car goes by, it takes a picture. We don't have any here, the closest one is the city of Knoll and El Portal when you get in.
Okay, but they were talking about. a
Yeah,
family
it's, yeah,
saloon.
everybody wants them, they're super expensive,
Well, that's why they were
and,
kind of
the
asking where would be productive to have them.
right, and the reoccurring costs, because it's a subscription based, most of them,
Yeah,
where,
but the same thing with illegal dumping. You have costs when people have to go out and get stuff and.
I know they have the camera, they're a big help for us to solve, crime. It's just, it's a very slow process, because everybody wants to know who's gonna pay for it, where's the money coming from, because they are expensive, so.
My impression was they were really excited that they were asking for feedback from the community as to where these cameras should be positioned. And we were all talking about Alhambra and Castro Ranch and, that area.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so whenever that comes to me, or if the sheriff is, all right, we're ready to move forward with this, then if you guys want to get the input now and come up with that, put on the agenda for the locations. I'll look at it too,
well,
the locations,
yeah,
but that way I'll have the answers ready when it's time to go.
yeah, there was, like I said, John Joya was there, he was talking
Yeah.
about it and.
I wasn't in,
Well,
any on that.
I suggest, ma'am, that we put this on the next agenda.
Yes, we can. I know that just speaking for a representative of the office, we don't have funds for cameras. So, but I can definitely put that on. If you'd like.
So-
No.
Well, I think, thank you very much for raising that point, and maybe we
So,
can continue.
Just to clarify, so it's only a live feed, they don't record at all, so you can't, for example, there's a high-speed chase, some kind of horrendous thing that happens on the damn road, which happens fairly often. You wouldn't be able to see a feed of that,
No, we don't have access to this Caltrans. We don't even have access to it, and they say.
and there's no
live feed.
recording, so you can't even subpoena,
No.
because they're not recording anything.
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
Thank you for the information, Lieutenant. And nice to meet you. Could you perhaps, Ronnie, with John's office, inquire Caltrans's when they put them in, why they put them in, and what they're planning to do with the data, if anything, because if they just suddenly show up and we're wondering what they're there for, just saying, would that be, is that okay?
Well,
Because
they've been there about 4 months.
I know, but it would be helpful to have a bit of an explanation of why Caltrans chose this particular location to do what it's doing. Because.
On every single.
Because everybody's asking about it, and now we know who put them there, now we just wanna know why.
Yeah, I can make a sort of educated guess.
We don't have to.
For traffic engineering surveys, so maybe if they have plans to improve the damn road, they're gonna see what's the traffic flow. I
Okay,
think the computer might count cars or something, but.
fair enough, but
but
it would, we appreciate the educated guess, that sounds logical, but we still want the agencies to explain it themselves. So, there's a community's asking, the sheriff's department was asking where they came from, so. If they're asking, then everybody needs some.
So feel free to continue with the
All
presentation.
right, so going to, the crime stats, so we had 622 calls for service for El Sobrante last month. Last month, we had 9 reported of the select crimes, so we had 2 assaults with deadly weapon. One of them was family related, family drama. The other one was, both of them were led to arrest. We had 1 auto burglary, 1 commercial burglary. We had 3 residential burglaries, 2 issues, 2 recovered stolen vehicles. Actually, sorry, 3. 4 felony domestic violence. I'm sorry, I'm reading from the wrong column. I'm reading the total for the last 3 months. What happened? It's been a long day, sorry. All right, 1 assault with a deadly weapon, and that was the family drama. 2 residential burglaries, 1 stolen vehicle, recovery. one petty theft, and there were 2 rapes.
Oh, we haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, both in custody, not like stranger type person, so. One of them was 4 years old. So, 4 years old.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 1 robbery and 1 vandalism.
But you got them all.
The rape, yeah, so the 4-year-old one, the report's drafted, it's in investigations, so they'll have to do some legwork before they just go and arrest the person based on what somebody said happened 4 years ago. But a little bit more to it. The other one was an arrest.
Let's clarify, the rape happened 4 years ago, it wasn't a 4-year-old who was raped.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh,
That's-
no.
There we go.
Better, it is better.
I just thought, oh,
That's okay, because people were thinking it was a child who was a victim.
Okay, 4-year-old.
out of the other. Out of the other calls for service, there's a bunch of 911 calls, a bunch of parking complaints about if cars were towed. We had a few batteries, especially out at Ed's place. That seemed to be a theme. A bunch of 5150s, loud music. We did 9 probation home checks last month in the El Sobrante area, and a bunch of welfare checks. And there was 1 carjacking right down Garden here. It was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning. The gentleman was heading to his car. I don't know what, like he saw somebody at his car already. They're probably trying to break in and steal it, but since he showed up, they just robbed him for his keys, took his car.
Oh.
And those suspects, they were masked and took off, so no real description.
Was the car recovered?
Not that I know of. And then that led to, there's a total of 49 reports that were actually written.
And now those caught on camera. No cameras.
The cameras are only in the middle of the damn road, so only if you did it there.
The only other thing I have from last month, I know that, I'm trying to work on getting the radar trailer for the road. Where would you guys like it? Where's like the hot spot for you? Cause I don't drive it every day.
Damn road. Well,
Where?
where?
Cause I can get 1 trailer, where do you guys want?
I think that would be just before Tri Lane, don't you think? That's where everybody just guns it,
That's where
Coming down?
going out of town.
When they
Of course it is.
everything merges into this thing, and if we're trying to go to Lake Ridge, people think that we're slowing down and they wanna get around it, and we're just trying to make a right
Not to
turn.
mention, there's a very short light at Castro Ranch,
Yeah.
and so what happens is people just gun it through that area. It's amazing the speeds they hit through there.
Yeah.
So, Melinda, I have a question. So there's one thing about, the place where there are the maximum speeds, but then there's also the other issue, which is the more densely populated areas with the apartments and houses and people pulling out.
Yeah, if we can move it down the road, we could maybe just bring that in and,
Around the
Maybe start a try and move it westward.
Yeah.
Great.
You also have to do
Yeah.
both directions.
That's all it is.
So you can sample it and then figure out where you're kind of getting the most hits.
Well, it doesn't take.
It's not
Just
smart.
a straight radar, and the thing that says, slow down, little flashy lights.
Gotcha.
It's a very basic, because. So in the sheriff's office, we're not equipped really for speed enforcement, right? So there's 3 ways that you can do speed enforcement. You have radar that's mounted either in the car or handheld. The handheld LiDAR units, which is the laser, or you can pace a car. The only thing that we have equipment wise is we can pace a car. That requires the speedometers to be calibrated every few years on the cars. And usually to hold up in court, you need at least a couple 100 yards pacing depending on the speed. So the higher the speed, the more the distance you need to pace, because the more distance is traveled. So.
This doesn't have to be that accurate, because it's just a warning.
Right, this is just a warning thing, kind of. Hopefully some people will see it, heed it, slow it down.
Would it be
Right. For speed enforcement, we can't really do that. It still requires the CHP to come out here and do that.
So maybe we should all give some thought to
Where?
where we think the trailer should be placed.
Yeah,
And we can send comments to Ronnie
Yeah.
or directly to you, actually.
Yeah,
You have your- you have your
shoot me an
contact
email and,
Yeah.
and let me know, hey, start here, and we can work our way down.
Do we have some areas that we know that have more accidents than other areas?
I'm thinking about kind of the area.
CHP,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
would have that data.
And
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Here, yeah.
We do have the traffic study that was done.
Oh, right, the diet study would
It
tell us.
does, it actually pinpoints the accidents, the ones that involve fatalities as well. And it shows along Dam Road, that 3 mile stretch where these things are happening.
Great idea, thank
Let's
you.
look at
My
that.
vote, if I was just gonna throw out a vote, would be in the 25 mile an hour zone, because it seems that it's an education.
Right there,
opportunity.
right.
Because everyone, no one sees the signs, or the road suggests that the speed should stay up at 45 or so. And it doesn't, so the road doesn't give the correct communication to the public that, yeah, I think that's what the road guy will do eventually. Although I don't think it'll go in effect in the 25 mile zone.
So,
But people play through that area.
but I think there's good information we can send to.
I think also where the most, because I think the accidents happen in kind of the same places every time.
Mhm.
And if we put it where the accidents usually happen, maybe it's preventative.
So now where to start?
So further questions from the council? Okay.
A couple things. I wanted to thank the sheriff's office came by, I think it was on the 6th. We had some construction debris deposited along Juanita and Allview and my street, St. Andrews. And as far as I know, the sheriff's office picked it all up. I don't know if they're looking for evidence. I hope.
Yeah, we don't pick it up,
Well,
it should be,
in the car, the
Oh,
three that
it's
were
just a little bit.
yeah.
yeah, you know, why not?
There's 14 or 15 55-gallon trash bags.
Oh, that wouldn't be in any of our cars.
I saw them pick up 3 and put them in the
Yeah,
trucks.
'cause our cars are our office, so,
Yeah.
you know, but, yeah, they probably found something to get them.
Well, some boxes, they had
Maybe.
labels, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I probably took that just to start that, but still, when we write up our report for dumping and we CC Public Works on it, when, by the time our report gets finalized, done, goes through records, gets mailed, basically to Public Works, their copy, I don't know what happens to it. So always don't rely on us reporting it to Public Works, because it'll get there, but it gets there way later than you guys using the app. You know, that they have, taking the picture and logging it in, because they'll get that right away, and they can get started on that.
Well, we had some neighbors, they had cameras out there, identified a couple trucks that were doing that.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that, and that was the same day they came. It was very quick. And I wanted to thank you for all your hard work on suppressing fireworks. My neighborhood was the quietest. it's
Really?
been in
Okay,
10
good.
years.
Speak for yourself.
For myself.
Yeah, so we tried, but there was.
It was bad.
Well, no, my neighborhood was great. Of course, I compliment that one of your deputies is renting a house near me. And he parks his cruiser in front. That's, that's a great.
Yeah, they went to her neighborhood to set off the fireworks.
Further questions for Lieutenant Holland?
Is this speed monitor, what's it called, those things?
Trailer.
How long will we have that? Is that like an indefinite thing? Can we keep it?
I'm not gonna ask when gonna want it back. I'll wait for them to tell me.
Right. It's ours until somebody else tries to claim
Further questions?
Yeah, you mentioned 600 calls came in, but I didn't know well, you listed maybe about 20 or so crimes. I was just wondering, what is the other calls that are coming in?
Yeah, those are the bulk, like 911
Oh.
calls, there's probably 40 911 calls.
Okay, got it.
The welfare checks, there's probably 20 of those.
Okay.
So
okay, so that's-
yeah, those were the
that's
bulk.
all I- Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other little miscellaneous ones here and there, but those were the bulk of the calls. Things that we responded to were those.
Okay.
Okay, further questions? Chris?
Yeah, I was, thank you, and thank you as well, Sheriff, but, I was wondering about the residential burglaries. Are they, in some particular part of town or anything like that, or do you know if they were opportunistic, or maybe somebody who knew them, they're suspected, or, what's going on with those? If, whatever you guys like that.
My name is. Uh, 500 block Pebble. 4,600 block Driftwood, 5,400 block Valley View. Not,
You know, the details.
There's no pattern to that.
no.
Yeah.
Random is the pattern for that.
And so if someone was stealing packages off of it, for example, would that be burglary, would that?
Yeah, now if what was stolen is worth more than $950, then it's a grand theft.
Okay. Further questions? If there are no further questions, sir, okay. Deputies, we thank you so much. So, now we have Michelle Reinhardt.
No,
That's.
I'm not looking eye. So, Chair and members of the MAC committee, I appreciate you welcoming me so greatly here in person. And members of the community that are in attendance, thank you very much for informing yourself and interacting with your local level of government. The Contrast and Welfare Mitigation Program is meant to leverage the existing partnerships between residents.
Before automatic.
Thank you, sorry.
Between residents, fire departments, and government. So this sort of interaction is exactly the premise of this program. And I am happy to report that I have updates. So the welfare mitigation program, early on, you'll remember that the numbers were very high in the applied projects section, but very low in the completed, right? So we flipped the script. We now have 88 remaining, accepting further applications throughout the county. But now we have a 3-digit number in that completed column. So we completed 103 projects. And so again, I ask myself often, what does success look like? Success to me and to the department is when that interaction takes place between a resident and our website. We have human interaction to develop that project together. We manage it, and then it reaches the point of completion. And we've done that 103 times. I want quadruple digits. I want to move out of the triple digit category, right? I want to respond to the residents' needs here in El Sobrante and throughout the county, bringing meaningful change to fuels, making it safer for residents and our firefighters throughout the county. So this is one aspect and one moment of interaction that I value, and I hope that you see the value in it also. Regarding the August 31st El Sobrante Dumping Day, I encourage residents to take advantage of that opportunity to get rid of things that our chipper program cannot accept. Things like bamboo and palm. Removing those items even though they're green waste, but removing those items from a potential chipper day makes your job and the safety of our crews ensures that takes place. So on our August 31st, please feel free to utilize that dumping day for bamboo and palm. If there are large amounts of green waste, the program does allow us to organize a green waste bin for a community chipping day. We just need about 2 weeks to organize that, and it will remain in place no longer than 24 hours. And that just limits the possibility of residents dumping things that are not green waste, like dishwashers, like illegal dumping. Exactly. So while not ideal, it is a possibility for large, heavy fuels that need to be eradicated from an area. That brings me to our firewise statistics. So firewise is when you organize a community in a geographic area with like-minded fire-wise intentions. So you would develop a 3-year strategic plan to address fuels and make your neighborhood safer from a fire perspective. 6 years ago, we had one inactive firewise community in Contra Costa County, all of the county. And I'm happy to report that we have 91 in good standing or pending in our county. This is a huge undertaking that I do not accept responsibility for alone. I work with the inspectors of Con Fire along with MAC leaders and deputy sheriffs, law enforcement and others to get the word out about this program and the possibilities of firewise.
It was my blog post last week.
It was? Oh, can you send me that? Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you.
Cause so hey.
Oh, yes. So I met Sohela about 4 days into this position, and she has been a huge cheerleader for this program and for me personally. And I just value that relationship.
That's her number one thing for running for office is she wanted leaders.
Absolutely, and the support of Supervisor Joya and specifically Ronnie through his office to allow me the presence at the MAC meetings throughout the county. This led to other deputy chiefs within the elected officials' offices to allow me to move throughout the county and present in small forums like this. Unfortunately, there was a lot of overlap and double booking that occurred, which is the reason for my delay in appearing in person. So the status of the county coordinator position. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, we presented to the Board of Supervisors and the Fire Board our ability to and availability to extend the county coordinator contract through the end of this year. So the extension was made available by CAL FIRE through the California Fire Safe Council as a pass-through organization, and we have the merits now to apply for that grant extension. Where it happened, where it lands after December 31st, I don't know, but I have appreciated the level of support by the residents and the MAC members and MAC committees throughout the county. I will continue my work until you or they tell me to go away. I'm going to work right up until December 31st and with hopes that we can continue this meaningful program. For the residents who have not heard about the program prior, this is a fuels reduction opportunity for residents and other departments within the county, partnered agencies to recognize and identify areas that need efforts for fuel reduction, okay? So when I look out and I see the large trees here, and that's some work, maybe Ronnie and I can work on a program. So see how the trees go down to a very low level towards the ground? That provides an opportunity for a horizontal and vertical ladder fuel that would create a canopy fire directly into this neighborhood. The light flashy fuels along the garden area, suggestions for spacing and clearing out the dead light debris at the base of those ground covers would be an ideal project. So how that project develops, and I'm just using this as a possible project, just throwing it out there. 10 neighbors affected directly by this fuel bed would come together with the permission of the library, and I would work on those permissions to clear that area in a fire-minded way. And I would have Crew 12 pull up in the parking lot when it's empty, and they would chip and haul everything away through. That's the example of a community chipping in. There's
Just
also,
so you know, the spawners actually take care of that whole area.
yeah,
There's an organization that's involved.
I'm sure, and I'm maybe they have a limitation.
Well, I don't think they think about fire, I think they think about the creek.
Oh, okay, so there's a riparian area there.
Yes.
Okay, okay, so, but still clearing out that understory and making it where that fuel, right, if it catches fire and that horizontal fuel carries to the base of those trees and then becomes a vertical, ladder fuel. That can be very dangerous.
And
When you say neighbors impacted, how far is the ratio that you're looking at for a neighbor being impacted by that?
A fire-wise community is a minimum of 8, so 8 residents directly impacted around this area.
But how far is
The
what
radius.
that compasses of the area?
That radius can include up to 2,500 residents.
No.
No, how
Distance.
far? Distance.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Like I
You
live
can-
down the street, so therefore am I considered a neighbor? Sure. This would burn, or does it have to be directly like right across the street and then right across the street?
I
You know what
see
I'm saying?
fire-wise leader.
No.
No.
But I'm just wondering, like, what's the, yeah.
So a geographic area with similar terrain and similar risks,
Mhm.
right? So any area within a radius that's determined by the fire-wise leader. It doesn't necessarily need to be like, okay, this is your property.
Right in the backyard.
Right. They do not have to be adjoining properties.
Oh,
Is that interesting?
interesting. Yeah, because I'm thinking if I, like, just, not to take your time, but I'm thinking of my block, like, everyone pretty much is pretty good fire-wise on my
Mhm.
block. But there are, like, the library, and there are places within my community that are not. And therefore, I'm wondering, like, if that's explained on your website, that it doesn't have to be right next door to you.
Yeah.
It could be, you can find something within your immediate community and find it be a concern like this.
Right. So, there are areas in the Moraga Orinda area that are not joined by a parcel line, by a property line. They are separated in distance, by a number of streets. But they have the like-minded focus on fire-wise and fuel reduction efforts. So they pull in neighbors, right? Turning those skeptics into cheerleaders for becoming fire adapted. The flash drives that you see in front of you, board members, and I will have more available for the residents. Everything is available on our website, but this just provides a summary or a media outlet for the MAC members to easily disseminate the information. But that approach is some resources. So the flash drives have some resources on it. What you can do as residents for 10 minutes of dedicated time to fuels reduction, 30 minutes, a couple hours, right? Links to the program, links to know your zone. Every resident that's here this evening, please see me if you do not know your evacuation zone. I can help you register for CWS and get that registration complete. So you will receive that notice if evacuation is necessary. As I was pulling into the parking lot tonight, there's a fire right on San Pablo Dam Road. Yep. Right? So my alert went off and made me aware of it. So I'm not special. It's not because I'm with the fire department. You're able to get that same alert that I do. So I know that a fire is close. So I could just have it in my mind. Oh wait, it's a red flag day. Well, my car's already pointed, backed into my parking, into my parking space. I'm already ready to go. I know where my go bag is. It's close to the door. Those sorts of things, right? But just keeping in mind that registering for some sort of platform that gives you evacuation notices is another priority for my speaking today. And you have a question?
If you have a tipper come to this area,
Ah.
does it cost the residents?
It does not.
It's free.
So thank you for bringing that up. I assumed that everyone knew, but Measure X is a 20-year half-cent sales tax that was approved by voters in 2020. That pays for major infrastructure projects throughout the county. So you're already paying for this program. In the list of infrastructure projects and programs that Measure X pays for, there's a very small line in there called vegetation management. And that's how this program is paid for. So $2 million annually is devoted to the mitigation, vegetation management efforts throughout the county. Now, when I know, I saw some people go, $2 million. Okay, if you put $2 million into my bank account, I'm like, see, I'm gonna work, right? Okay. If you go to spend, right, if you go to spend $2 million within a county, considering the possible CEQA considerations or Environmental Quality Act regulations that we have to abide by, $2 million doesn't go very far. For example, the Lafayette Walnut Creek Shaded Field Break, and I know that the board has received regular updates from me, so you know what to expect. If we're awarded the East Richmond Heights Shaded Field Break grant that I identified and we applied for, we should hear back in September, by the way. Just for example, the Lafayette Walnut Creek Shaded Field Break, that's a $3.3 million project. And about $500,000 goes towards CEQA. So that's a ecologist, biologist, botanist, all of the ists, all of the scientists necessary to evaluate the habitat that could possibly be disturbed, any potential protected species that are affected by our work. So moving through that project in a light touch, right? Light touch on the environment, making sure that we're not making devastating impacts to a potential protected habitat. So we're just looking at those things, but when we think about that money and how far it goes throughout the county, that's a drop in the bucket. However, with the support of Supervisor Joy and the Board of Supervisors, we did receive an additional one-time $1.5 million allocation. A little over $500,000 of that went towards the Genesis platform to support that notification platform for the next 3 years. And the remaining of that does help us in completing those projects. So that's how we got to the 103 and completed. So, long-winded. Did I answer everybody's questions?
So,
How do you sign up for the evacuation notices?
Oh, for CWS, for Know Your Zone. So
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. So knowing your zone and signing up for CWS is very important. And I have postcards, which I will put it out on the.
No, you just go to CWS Contra Costa County.
Yes.
If you just put in CWS, you'll get Church World Service, which is another disaster organization. You can even choose your favorite refinery that you're
Know
worried
your
about.
zone, and so you write your zone on this card, and then you can just place it on your refrigerator. So when the alert goes off on your phone and it says evacuation for EC 081, whatever it is, you can go, oh wait, that's my zone. I gotta go. Go bag, car,
I was saying that.
right? Heeding those warnings early allows us, especially if a person is mobility challenged or has other medications or a CPAP machine or something to grab, all of those things need to be thought of before that formal evacuation is called, right? If you get a warning or an act now, a ready, set, go, a go means you're late, right? So having everything ready to go and knowing your evacuation can save your life.
How many fire safe communities are there, did you say, in the county?
Now 91, in
91?
good standing and or pending.
Any here in El Sobrante, how many here? I think the last time I checked, in El Sobrante?
Yes,
I can tell you my fire was kept.
it'll just take me a minute to pull that up on my laptop and get that information for you. But I'll be happy to give you the total numbers for El Sobrante. I'm sorry, I don't have that in here.
further questions for Michelle?
Thank you.
Well, in that case, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, first, I think you two can connect.
Yeah.
To get your question answered. Okay, so, with that, I think we can go on to our discussion item, which is, so it's development plan applications, variance report, building modification requests, et cetera, in the previous month. And this is county file number CDSE 24-6, and the applicant requests an El Sobrante P1 administrative permit to review the proposed signage for an existing smoke depot. This is for a business on the Dam Road, I believe, on the south side.
It's next door to
The church, the old movie
The
theater.
old movie theater is now a church at the intersection.
So what I don't understand about this, are they just asking for permission to review the signage? There doesn't seem to be, any proposed signage. I would say it's fine for them to review it.
They've had a temporary sign for a really long
Yeah.
time, so I would love to see what their permanent sign would look like, given how special their temporary sign is. But we don't actually get to make aesthetic decisions.
Right.
Right, but I'm saying, I think if you just read this literally,
Yeah,
it's a permit to review the proposed signage. So,
Yeah,
it seems like it's just a.
it's probably
no-brainer.
just the entrance into the system.
Yeah, exactly, because they filed a late fee, which means to me that they've already got signed. Work is done. Yeah. Well, they had,
Except I haven't seen a sign that's permanent up there, all they have is a banner.
well, they have, it's been temporary because they moved, because they used to be where currently the artist street. There he is, yeah.
About where they are now.
And they are now, they have that same kind of sign since they moved there, so it sounds like they wanted to start the process of just getting new signs.
That's how I understand this. To approve this,
I'll move to,
I second.
okay.
So, can we go ahead and? I think we were discussing it.
I didn't have a chance to finish the motion before you seconded it. So let me finish the motion that we approve, support of this recommendation, this proposal. How about that? It's just that they want to start the process of getting a new sign for the business.
They have to ask permission to.
Well, that's,
Oh, yeah, you
Yes.
have to ask permission to do anything with signage.
yes.
Oh, let me tell you that.
They have to ask permission, and that's what this is
Right.
doing, and so I think we'll support that, so that's the motion. Second, right? Okay, it's been moved and second, is there any discussion from the MAC on this motion?
So, as I understand it, it's a review and not a concrete proposal or an actual sign, so.
So they have to get a review, they have to get a permit to have the signage review before
Yes.
they actually.
Yes.
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 You have to pay for a permit to somebody to look at your signage to save it, right?
It says you're going to put in new signage, so it's just like anything else, you pull a building permit and then you show them your drawings, right?
And your architectural drawing, perhaps, yeah, but then, what if you have 3 or 4 signs?
Well, that'll be the whole thing, they'll look at everything.
They'll look at
There
everything.
is a permit for somebody to figure out what sign is right.
There
Yes.
are very strict signage
Like
rules.
size and that kind of thing.
Size, visibility, how much lighting, whether or not it blocks the road, whether or not people can see around it. I'm telling you, it's all good, but it is, but you do have to, but the fact that you pay for a permit before they review it
That's what
is
I'm
not unusual. That's what you do in everything in the building department.
Yes,
You pay them to look at your stuff,
yes.
which they may or may not say yes to.
It's their,
But you pay for the privilege of, it's like the,
Would this come back to us
it's like the mechanic.
at a future date?
That's what
They
I'm
charge you
wondering.
$200 to look at it.
so violates some barrier, they ask for a variance. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Yes, Randy?
So I'm just wondering what the late filing is all about there.
Yeah. Well,
If it's just up for proposal and for review, then.
they got rid
Well, I
of.
think the only thing we can do is vote on what is put before us, which is supporting the review of their proposed signage.
My guess is that they requested a review and then didn't turn their stuff in on time.
Yeah.
And then they had to pay a late fee because
Exactly.
they hadn't turned their stuff in. on time.
Exactly.
But nobody knows if there is actually a sign in the building yet.
Well, I was just trying to look on Google and it's not showing you the new site. It's not.
Lots of signs there, you go by, you drive by, and you see smoke depot, smoke shop. the whole
So in
thing.
the end, it just simply comes back to thumbs up or thumbs down on what is explicitly before us.
Yeah.
And, probably hold our vote now.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, so, that takes care of that. Information reports by MAC members, I just thought I would add something.
Okay.
So one of my other, activities here is I'm, a member at large on the Area Council on Aging, which is our county oversight commission for the Area Agency on Aging. And, at our meeting, the Director of Contra Costa Senior Legal Services, CCLS, his name is Matt Hulse, came and gave a presentation on their organization. So CCSLS provides legal support to seniors in the county to deal with all sorts of problems. And it could be protection of assets against predatory people, getting evicted from residences, drafting of wills, things like that. And it's especially meant to help people who don't have the resources to sort of access the legal system. And he gave it, it's a really wonderful organization. So I would suggest that, you know, if you have time, you go to Contra Costa County Senior Legal Services, look at their website and see what they do. Matt gave as part of his presentation, he talked about, you know, just sort of the client base. And here in West County, we are underrepresented in terms of clients. And I think if you look at our area and you look at our seniors, we probably have more people who, you know, have maybe language barriers or lower income than the eastern parts of the county. So I think, you know, we pay our taxes here. We, you know, as a community should have access to these services. So I'd like to do as much as possible to just help them spread the word about this. And so what I'd like to suggest is, you know, we bring them in for a presentation at our next meeting. And I sent you and John an email about it, and hoping that, you can put that on your news, you know, on your email blasts that go out and, you know, on the local updates and the website. I did send it, the same email to Sohela, and she put it in her, you know, email to her constituents. So I would just love to see the word go out, because, you know, maybe there's somebody who can make use of the services and have their life transformed, you know. It's just like not have to be evicted from their apartment, or, you know, that horrible nephew that wants to get the remaining assets. You know,
Well.
it's I don't know, it struck a chord. So that's my MAC member update.
Before
Any
we go
others?
further, Tom, do we have any update on why the California Highway Patrol not here again?
Excellent question. They get the same reminders that I send out to everyone here. I'm in communication via email with Sergeant Pruitt. His last response was, you know, like law enforcement in this area just low on bodies, and so while they would love to be here, they're out, you know, doing their jobs, and so.
In the next communication, just politely point out to them it's been about 9 months since they've been here. And since they moved, and you know, the community is still concerned about the speeding on their road, which is CHP patrols. And when they increased the patrol, the speeding decreased. They decreased the patrol, the speeding increases, and you know, we just want the presence again, because it was most beneficial the last time they had it. I'd like for that to be repeated. And we'd love to see them, because we haven't seen them in a while. We really do. The community report, well, it's sort of a MAC thing, but we've said it before, Melinda and I are members of the El Sobrante Pride Committee, and Melinda's been Cabbage Patch here, which is her way of expressing joy. We are having our first ever Pride celebration. It is on Sunday, September 22nd, It's actually gonna be at the Chief Park. And we hope that a lot of people show up and very excited. We've got people donating their time and being sponsors. And it's gonna be a lot of, we think it's gonna be a lot of fun and great event. And yes, as Mr. Furman said, food trucks will be there, so there'll be good food.
And I just want to point out that Terry Edinger is our volunteer coordinator for that. You may not know
I
that.
did not know.
And Brett's working with us as well. So
And
we
we're,
have,
we're both working.
you're both working with us. So
Okay.
lots of people in this room.
That's how I would-
Working on the petting zoo.
Sort of, I was, it was a little bit on that, actually, the Free Mom Hugs.
Okay, that's a
Great mom hug.
good thing. So
Yeah.
we,
That's good.
we thank you.
I'm
And,
the volunteer facilitator.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
gotta get
using,
your
we're
proper
using the
time.
word facilitators instead of.
Okay, so thank you
And
for,
Nicole,
and of course, yes, from the chamber.
So, and I'll give you a shout out that he got a really nice fat donation from East Bay Mud,
My former.
and I got a nice fat donation from Buffy Wicks for
Oh, awesome.
Assembly 2024.
And we've got dealers out to other things. My best friend is on the BART board, so I asked him to contact his folks to do it. And we're looking at participation of some for basic transit, because I happened to run into them they were at the El Cerrito 4th of July celebration, which is a lot of fun. It's a great community event that they have in those. Their external affairs rep happened to be manning their booth, and I said, hey, and I emailed them waiting to hear back. So we're looking at good contributions and spread the word. There is a Facebook page, Sobrante Pride, so that's on there as well. But yes, put the word out to all your network of folks that are in the venue, so.
And the Public Services has already given us the in-kind donation of, they're gonna pick up all the trash and bring the bins, and they are also gonna put something towards the t-shirts.
Oh, good, okay, so as you can see, we've got the local public agencies interested and involved, so we want the public as well, so.
It's gonna be fun.
It's our first time, it's our first one doing this, so.
So this is great stuff.
It is.
what time does it start?
Oh, that's right, it would be helpful if I told you the time. Duh, do it at 5.
Hey,
You're welcome.
And I have one more small announcement. The farmer's market, our fantastic El Sobrante Farmer's Market, starting this Sunday will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. instead of 12 to 4. This is better for our vendors, and also as it gets hotter and hotter, it'll be better for everybody. So come at 10 a.m. I'm hoping, we're trying to talk to Lord Eats into breakfast burritos. Oh, yeah, that would be so good. In the meantime, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. starting this Sunday and every Sunday. The other thing that's kind of new, if you haven't been to the farmer's market recently, is we've teamed up with a music school that teaches folks to play bluegrass and Americana kinds of music. And their students have been required to come to our farmer's market and bus. And some of them are really good. Week before last, the Mostly Marys were magnificent. I loved the Mostly Marys. They were so good.
So if you haven't been to the farmer's market yet, please do go, because it's a lot of it's the vendors are selling good stuff, baked goods, fruits, vegetables, food, the Peruvian food, there's a hot dog place. It's very nice. It's a wonderful thing that belongs to El Sobrante, and it took a lot of effort and work by Melinda and her
Planning
folks.
Justice.
Planning Justice, Good Table, everybody, all those folks involved in that, put in a lot of work to create it, and it's good that we have something that belongs to us.
So Rise Up, some people noticed that Rise Up wasn't there last week.
Yes,
And that is not because they have left the market, but their bakery is in San Francisco and is next door to a place that had a fire. And so they lost everything in their walk-ins the day before they were supposed to come in.
oh, so it all the food.
And all the water and some damage, so they're not sure exactly how quickly it'll take them to get their kitchen back up and running, because of course they turned the power off, and of course that killed everything in the walk-in. So, give a thought to Rise Up, and once Rise Up rises up again, they'll be back. But they they didn't abandon us, they were sadly, at least it wasn't a fire in their place, it was just next door though.
Thank you, George. And are there any more MAC member updates before we go to subcommittee reports? In that case, Mickey, you're chairing the subcommittee.
So we lost Sue. We moved on to England. Who's now in the middle of the Atlantic. In the middle of the Atlantic, we had Terry now.
Yes, you were in your sound mind too.
So our next cleanup is July 20th, 10 to noon. And as usual, we meet here at 10 to get coming in, get equipment, pick a location, eat a protein bar or something, and go out and clean up for 2 hours. We're going to do that. So if people know of areas that need extra attention, please let us know. Let's come and if you come here to our cleanups, you know, we'll give extra attention to that area that you want. You want that. So, you know, it's in your interest if some places bother you. But as usual, we're always encouraging people to just take care of their own spaces. That'll help the whole neighborhood. I don't really have that much of a report today. Our coastal cleanup is the day before Pride. So we will be teaming up with the Green Team 94803 and Spawners and SOS Richmond and the library. I guess we need to let them know. The library.
Good idea.
That planning to do something for coastal cleanup day. We got that. What's that?
Dumpsters.
Sounds like y'all need to thin the fuels back here with spawners.
Yeah, except for that's already.
No, wait up.
The riparian area does change the perspective a little bit, but I just look at the increased temperature and the decreased humidity. And
It's also a homeless encampment down there too, so SOS gets very involved in that area.
SOS, we're already engaged. Okay, and we have a homeless engagement team with Bonfire also.
Yeah, that's a special area right there. You're looking at. There's a lot going on out there.
I fully blend now, thank you very much.
More than you see.
There's a lot going on there.
So-
Speaking of which, a question. I think there was a fire, wasn't there, along at the encampment somewhere near San Pablo down near Rayleigh's across the street. People noticed it, they were commenting on next door that they thought the maybe.
Like a week ago, a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I do, and I also, you know, we're coming off of the busiest week of the year for fire.
Well, yeah.
In the form of fires. We did have an increase of injuries this year. Usually we have 1 or 2. We did have 3 this year. One significant, hand extremity damage. So we're faced with a high volume of calls, and addressing those areas in the most compassionate way possible. And so I apologize for any assumptions that I made about that area, but I would say that if a community becomes engaged and engages for SOS, Bonfires, homeless outreach, really addressing areas, educating people. We're not coming from an enforcement perspective, right? We're coming from an education perspective. That's why I'm here, is to deliver information and help people become informed, therefore empowered. And a quick follow-up, Charlie, to your question, ma'am. There are 4 fireways communities here in El Sobrante, and it brought up a memory just from last month. I was able to join a block party for the El Sobrante community where, Inspector Berman and I, walked through the neighborhood with a group of Fireways participants to look at a couple of homes and how those fuels could be reduced in the same manner, but on a more expanded and personalized manner. There was a barbecue, there was music, and the, you know, all of the things that you want a community to be. Children playing in the street, we had an informational table, and those sorts of opportunities are what makes this program a go, right? And so if there are block parties, then National Night Out, I know that there's a lot of effort being made in that area. I've made note of the Pride event, and I look forward to being there. If there's an opportunity for us to have a table, please let me know.
Happy for you to have a table.
Oh, great, so
You're
there's,
signed up. And come to
yes, I know.
our coastal cleanup day.
Yeah, I mean,
Have a table.
I would take advantage of every
Yeah.
event that's
Yeah.
presented that I've not previously booked for, right? So I'll jump in and I have my little mobile, informational truck right outside, and we'll just come into the neighborhood and deliver more information.
Do you know if that any of the encampments are, I thought I heard something about giving them like fire extinguishers and things like that.
Yeah.
SOS,
Yeah.
SOS is engaging with them, and I know that that's, that the focus of educating, unhoused individuals in encampments about fire safety is something that our outreach team does.
Oh, great. Okay. So the coastal cleanup day is the 21st, the day before.
So back to my question, do we have the dumpsters?
You don't have anything
I
yet.
know that, but.
We have,
How soon do we need to get that? How soon ahead of time do we need to get that requested? So.
I don't know.
Yeah, the more time, the better, but BL's really good about, yeah, she's really great. Yeah.
We know when the day is, so we can request it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so shoot me an email so I can send that over to her. Yeah.
And then, we're gonna start planning for what we wanna do. Very soon, if you wanna be involved in that planning, let us know. Let me know. Nikki Norris at Comcast.net. And, one other thing that we're gonna be doing that's coming up is the stroll. On the 15th, that we will be signing up to have a group there. And also to be in the parade.
You gonna try to win the parade again?
Of course we.
That was hysterical last year.
We have a new song.
The song is so wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have more songs. The prison's written it kind of a little anthem for El Sobrante.
Okay. El Sobrante, that's the place for me. I don't know free.
That's part of it. We'll probably be singing that this year during the year. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun with the Green Team 94803. And we're doing really good things for the community by keeping it clean. So, hopefully people will join us and meet the nicest people. 94803 there. And, well, we do good work by trying to keep it cleaner and more beautiful. We also have the planter project. There's some people in our group that is, really done with it. And they're making a lot of progress. Allison is part of that effort here, and Chris and Dorcas and Monica and Deb are the primary people, and Ramon sometimes. And anyway, if you take a look at the planters down along San Pablo Gym Road, you'll see that they're starting to fill in the places. So, does anybody have anything to add to that? Yes.
I have a question for Ronnie.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put on my hat and pretend that I'm Nicole Dawn right now. So do we know the status of the countywide public art policy so that we can do more public art? this became, you know, a real problem. She had the money and everything in line for the library, and then we were told we couldn't do it because there was no policy. Can we follow up on that and find out where Public Works is with that policy development so that we can do public art? Because we've got some other ideas that are cheap and easy. For example, and this might even help us on the Dam Road with some of the traffic issues. I went to a meeting in Fresno, and who knew? But Fresno paints their crosswalks with beautiful patterns and things. And first of all, it kind of slows people down because they're like, oh, what's on the crosswalk, right? And it makes the people in the crosswalk safer, and they're pretty. And it's not like, you know, rocket science, and it's not the hardest thing to do. You get some patterns and you paint them. But if Public Works can't approve it, we can't do it.
We had an idea of painting the tower boxes and the pole.
And we need this policy to do
Exactly.
any of these things.
So Ronnie, you
Exactly.
can,
So that's what John Joya said, is we have to wait until they have the policy so we can figure out.
Which is why I want an update on where they are in developing the policy.
Yeah.
Then it hasn't fallen between the cracks.
Yeah, because we know how it goes. If we don't squeak enough, the wheel doesn't turn.
This is true.
Or we just do it and ask for apology.
Sometimes we do that.
Well, yeah,
so maybe that's something that we can cover in the county update next week.
Yeah, maybe you can get an answer on that.
Yeah, I can reach out. Yeah.
it reduces graffiti too.
So are there any further subcommittee report?
We don't have any meeting, if people, any meeting scheduled coming up for the full committee. That people demanded or have some ideas that would like us to be taking on, we could schedule it at any time.
Chris?
Yeah, I got it. Well, one thing I wanted to follow up on the planters because, we not only have we planted quite a number of them, but we're also getting more buy-in from the businesses to where they're doing the watering for us. And the still problem seems to be about getting access to water, we not do that, want to get it from somewhere else. And we're getting more and more access to that as well, and also getting the key, because a lot of the places that have faucets, you can't turn them on without a key. So we're engineering our way through that, and that's we're making a lot of progress there. The other thing I wanted to mention is about, it's been so windy lately that it's making the cleanup kind of harder for two reasons. One is that your bag is blowing around while you're trying to put trash in it, trying to pull it back out of your bag, but moreover, it's like we clean up one area and the wind blows more trash in. You know, it used to be we could clean up an area and it would kind of look clean for a while. But the way this wind has been, it's like, no, this is be cleaned up and something else blows in. So I just want to kind of mention that that's one of the reasons that I think things are cleaner, but they don't necessarily look it because it's more evenly distributed trash instead of it used to be concentrated and cleaned up in certain areas. And then the other thing was that the Chamber of Commerce has erected another sign, welcome to El Sobrante, which is now on El Portal, coming into town. And so we've got the one on Dam Road that's coming from Lake Ridge, and then we've got that one, but we still don't have anything on Appian, and we also don't have anything on this end of Dam Road. So I don't know where it is in terms of the chamber, what they're doing on it, but they have put up one more sign, so I'm gonna be checking with them and see if they're planning on putting up the other two as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some inspirational signs, around town, but that's where our policy comes in.
So are there any?
Well, I can just tell Chris the contact person for that is Bob Sharp.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah.
Any other, anything else for some?
I think that's it.
We have a beautification. So in that case, we can thank you, Mickey and Chris and Terry and everybody who works in this area. And Reed. No, this is really great stuff. Thank you so much.
Yes, it is.
So we now move to the part of our agenda that is public comment. So these are items that are not on the agenda. And so do we have any public comment? Just one thing, individual public comments are limited to about 2 minutes. So please.
Public comment. I'm curious, with all the talk about Dam Road and the safety and the speeding, is it appropriate and does there exist a subcommittee on that particular issue? And would it even be appropriate? Because it seems that, there could be like a more concerted effort with not only communicating with highway patrol, but also potentially some, maybe like yard signs or something along Dam Road, something to bring attention to the people, the Munoz family who recently, their daughter with she had broken back and legs, like all these horrific things that are happening to people, that there is the potential to do some kind of communication or education to the folks who are using that road, who aren't necessarily our community members, to try and bring awareness to slow people down.
So, I think perhaps a good approach would be to discuss how to elevate that issue so that, at least we cover it every meeting. I don't know if the best approach is to make it a subcommittee, but, that's maybe something. If you'd like to shoot me an email, Ronnie, others who on the MAC, or we could start a discussion about sort of what's the best way to.
Yeah,
Does that sound reasonable?
but can community members just start their own thing and then report to us? Does it have to be a subcommittee or not?
No, it doesn't have to be. That's why I kind of wanted to maybe email back and forth.
Yeah.
So that we could get an idea of an approach that would suit everyone.
And Ronnie, about your presence here, I know that you've been chatting with Sergeant Pruitt, but we also know that Sergeant Pruitt has a boss. And maybe try to run to the bosses and say, hey, boss, can you please allow Sergeant Pruitt a little time away from his duties to come to our meeting, and just because the boss probably doesn't know that he hasn't been able to be here for the last 9 months. And you maybe reference again, the community concerns about the speeding. And it's primarily Dam Road, but it's also Hilltop Drive, because the speeding and Apian, but the speeding is back there as well. And so we have someone online who wishes to comment, Thomas, so maybe we should take her, and then maybe in Hat next. So Ms. Menjivar, did I say that properly? You have your 2 minutes of public comment.
Yes, I just want to comment on a topic that is not on the agenda. I live on Rancho Road, and the road is in pretty bad conditions. It in winter gets pretty bad, so I don't know if there is a committee that can help us to the neighborhood over here to take care of that issue, or if this is the appropriate place to discuss that. Because it's I've been living here for the last 2 years, and the road is getting worse and worse, and so I just want to know how we can work with the rest of the community to fix this issue.
Okay, well, actually, thank you for bringing that to our attention. That is probably the purview of Public Works. I have, my own curiosity have gone down that road, and it's kind of messy for a good chunk of it. And I'm wondering, and I'm not certain, because of the way the road is structured, I'm wondering if part of it is actually a private road. So and if that's the case, then it's up to the residents to maintain it. But it would be helpful for Public Works to go out there and just view the condition, because I have a nice 4-wheel drive vehicle, and it's just like, oh, good, there goes my suspension, great. Because the road is kind of challenging. It's probably storm damage related from the storms we had in the past couple of winters. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we're going to ask Ronnie, Supervisor Joya's right-hand man, and to reach out to Public Works and get in contact with Ms. Menjivar. Maybe if you and Ronnie offline can communicate, that way Public Works can take a look and see what is transpiring on that street, because it is kind of, it's kind of messy.
Yeah, there was a similar issue with another street, and they were able to find that the county was indeed responsible for it. And there's now a process to get the road fixed. So I think what George is suggesting is you get in contact with Ronnie and send Public Works out there to figure out who's responsible for the road, and if they're responsible for the road, then they have to fix it.
Can they, if you make a
Thank you so much.
On the mobile citizen app for
Okay.
road, street, take a picture.
Yeah.
There's that mobile citizen app that I highly recommend everybody gets. Because on that mobile citizen app, you can make reports, take photos, and it maps out the area as well. And you can report on things like the, road damage. We did that on Valley
So-
View once.
It's-
Picture of it, we recorded it.
So, Ms. Menkivar, that's a
Right, sure.
really great suggestion. If you have an iPhone or like a Samsung, a smartphone, you can download an app called Mobile Citizen. And what Mobile Citizen allows you to do just on your phone is take a picture and send it to Public Works. And then that will get your issue documented.
And it automatically can pinpoint the map location and everything.
That is a great suggestion.
Yeah, great suggestion. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Are there any other public comments?
the lady in the map.
But Ronnie's still gonna follow up with John's office, right, just in case. he
Yes.
doesn't-
On Racket Road.
Sure, okay.
Okay, the lady in the hat, I'm Allison Blakely. And I was proselytized by Mickey Norris, and I'm a devoted follower of hers. But yeah, so I'm on the green team, 94803, but I'm also on the Richmond Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm a commissioner. And so I am, Cheese Park and is one of my parks, and Rain Cloud. But yeah, I wanted to share, I have in my phone, under report, I have illegal dumping report to Caltrans, illegal dumping report to Contra Costa County, illegal dumping report to Richmond, report fireworks, Oakland illegal fireworks report, and I have Officer Tim Levis of the CHP to report reckless drivers.
Okay,
So, yeah.
all that's on mobile citizen.
No, I also had mobile citizen. But yeah, those are apps. These are phone numbers, right?
That reminds me that we are going to be updating our postcard, our third Saturday postcard with resources on the back. And we are thinking about, we should probably add the resource on how to report something in Richmond, since that's our area too. Not just mobile.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Yes, I have one too. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Ayoka Nurse, and I am thankful for the opportunity to come before the committee to speak to you today. I am the owner of Urban Soil, which is located at 3823 San Pablo Dam Road. That location has been a medicinal cannabis shop for well over 20 years. And we follow our core values is more in line with the original owner, Buzz, who was part of the community. And we organically have become a resource to our community, and we would like to keep it that. We consider ourselves not only the first Black-owned cannabis shop throughout Contra Costa County. In addition to that, we're the oldest, but we're also the only community cannabis shop in a sense where we provide additional resources that just come by accident, whether it's job training or doing bikes this summer, a bike giveaway. So those are examples of the things that we hold true to our position in the county, but we are having an issue. We cannot compete. We are experiencing unfair competition in the sense that through the county and the different regulatory bodies, we have to pay the same amount for a health permit, which is over $4,000. We have to pay $5,500 for a lease. We have to pay regular state fees to maintain our license. But where the unfair competition comes into play is that we're not allowed to go into adult use because we're grandfathered in. But we're grandfathered in when there was only medicinal. Now there's recreational. So in addition to there being unfair competition, there's also a lack of access and equity when it comes down to our citizens and our residents of Contra Costa County. They are priced out of the other cannabis shops, or they're further away and they can't get there. The core group of my customers are elderly, they're veterans, and they're lower to mid working class individuals. And they come into the shop and we provide an experience to them that is very similar to the experience that I had 15 years ago walking into the same dispensary, where it was 3 other license holders that were working under that same license. One of them is 7 stars now. There might be more concern over what took place at the shop before we became owners, but I want to reassure you that that is an element that we don't attract. In order for us to stay and maintain our position within the community, as the community cannabis shop, we need to have adult use. Although our core is wellness, but it's also providing access. So to tell my customers that they have to pay $25 just to do a questionnaire. It's not like it was that we're accustomed to during the medicinal days where you go in and you actually see a doctor. No, you go and get a random medical recommendation and you do a 2-page survey. You pay your money. 25 is the lowest. It goes all the way up to 100. And you send off your ID. There's no way for you to check whether or not that recommendation is signed by a California board certified doctor, which is what we're required to do. But to tell my customers who are already on the fringes and already priced out that in order to come to my shop, that they have to get this medical recommendation and keep it for a year and then re-get it every year, it's not fair. It really isn't fair. Back in 2019, I went before the Board of Supervisors to encourage them, not to convince, I don't have that kind of authority, but to encourage them to allow a cannabis dispensary in North Richmond. Then it was told that there were going to be no additional licenses offered in non-service areas, so unincorporated areas of El Sobrante or throughout Contra Costa County. So now we have artistry. So if there wasn't artistry, I wouldn't have the competition that I have now. The smoke shop is also my competition. They're not supposed to be, but they are. So those are things that I have to contend with. Then it's also the other stuff that comes in with the unfair competition. That is the over-policing, the over-regulating, coming into the shop, just disrupting the good vibes that go on in there all the time. And when I say good vibes, I don't mean that we're in there, hot boxing or smoking out the shops. For those of you, and I know some of you have, who have been into the shop, I know that you left happy, which is our motto. We come in, we want you to leave happy, but we are providing a service to the community. And I would love to have your continued support. I know that there are some regulatory issues, but I'm not going to accept no or wait for an answer because there are no rules. There are no rules associated with how to govern a grandfathered in cannabis dispensary. There are rules for Rancho that went from being a liquor store to a bar and now a club. So why can't Urban Soil go from being medicinal to adult use without some act of God? Because really that's what it's going to take. Because even with the general plan, which is what John and the Board of Supervisors plan is, to put it on the general plan for August, it's still going to take years. Because there has to be a report done by planning, there has to be a report done by this place. And I know I only have 2 minutes and I will talk a lot, so I do want to end it on a positive note. Urban Soils license was renewed by the state of California. Our CEQA exemption was pushed through, even though they didn't have the help from the licensing body from the county. And then also our status for expanding our services into adult use is pending. And I want to work with the county and I want to work with our elected officials, but I also want it to be known publicly that I am standing with my community and I am going to provide a service and equitable access to the local community. I am from here, I still live here, and I don't want to be forced out. And that is what it is turning into. But I'm here to fight, but I'm also here to look for your support. I also want to invite all of you to come down to the shop. We're open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 o'clock to 8 p.m. And just stop by and just see for yourself how we operate, who we serve, and how we serve them. And I also wanted to let you know, if any of you guys are veterans, are first responders, you get our largest discount, 15%. We also have a wisdom discount. I don't call it the S word. I call it the wisdom discount because I too learn from the people who come into the shop. But I love what we do. I love the service that we provide, and I would like to continue to do that. But I am not going to stand for unfair competition and unequal access.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to, I think, to expand the amount of licenses in unincorporated county here. It's kind of ridiculous that for the whole county, they're only allowing 4.
And there's a report that the county paid for that says in unincorporated, you can have anywhere upwards to 12. So, and that was a report that the county paid for. There isn't really any need to do a new report. And there's 2 licenses that aren't active.
I don't know, is there anything we can do to support that? The expansion? Or is that something that John?
That's really, we can make
Or
a recommendation to John, we can't do anything.
That's kind of, we can't even make a recommendation because it's not on the agenda.
Well, no, but I mean, if we put it on the agenda, all we could do is make a recommendation.
Well, let's do that at least. So since it's not on the agenda, can we put it on the agenda for the next meeting? So we can
On the agenda to,
discuss it, maybe make a recommendation of some sort, because we're just getting this large chunk of information right now.
Mhm.
It's kind of hard to digest it and make any comments or moves or support or anything.
Mhm.
We just need a little time to digest it and figure out what we might want to do, what we could do, what we're able to do, what we're not able to do. And if we have it as an agenda item next month, then we can devote some more time to it, because it's an issue that's not going away. And so maybe just, that's all I'm asking.
So-
Where's the shopper? It's
So
next door to Caliente. It's in the
So I think-
plaza that does the cleaners. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think what George is saying is that if we were to write, let's say, a letter of support for this business and potentially expanding the number of licenses, this is something, if we were to, we would need to vote on. But for us to be able to vote on this, it has to be in the agenda. We couldn't vote on it now because it's not on the agenda.
That's
So what George is asking is that it be on the agenda for the next meeting to discuss.
exactly.
The broader thing than this in particular.
Exactly, like Thomas.
I'm just trying to connect the dots on my end. So we're wanting this to be on the agenda as a presentation item or discussion
The
item?
discussion.
Okay. Okay,
And the discussion item is, the item is to discuss this issue and draft a letter of recommendation, or whatever the outcome of the discussion is, put it in a letter.
Randy,
Does this expansion require any sort of permitting or anything?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
this is something we have no control over.
Right, so that's what I'm getting.
But all we can do is, make our opinion as a board known to,
Right, so my question is, do they go through the permitting process and then bring the permit to us and we recommend the yes or no?
No, nothing like that. All we would be doing is voting on a set of recommendations that would be sent to the Board of Supervisors, to John Joya's office. But in order to draft that letter, we have to take a vote on it. In order to take a vote on it, it has to be on the agenda.
So it wouldn't be like.
So we can't do anything.
We need more, we need more information.
Yeah.
We need a lot more information, so it's not ready to even have the discussion because we don't have the information. I remember when Artist Creek came, we were educated as to what that whole process was. And I don't remember it, the Board of Supervisors was the last stop in that process, not the first stop. So we need to get a little bit more information, probably from John, about actually who we should write a letter to.
Well, we can only write a letter.
Well,
Well, no, but I mean, we write letters to other agencies. We've written to Public Works, we've written to the building department.
We should all go through John.
May I send a PowerPoint
No.
presentation?
We need to get it from our Contra Costa. Yeah, they need to come and talk to us. The county, the people who do the recommendations.
But I think what.
I mean, essentially what this involves is modifying a policy that was extensively discussed for multiple years, right? And
Right,
after years of discussion of that policy, it was approved by the Board of Supervisors. And what happened is, as a result of all of those deliberations, there were 4 businesses chosen. Our role in this is that once Artistry was selected, we voted on their particular business. How would you say it? We made a recommendation on their particular business permit, right? Because that's when the neighbors came in
yeah,
and
yeah.
had issues regarding
Right.
parking and all of those.
But we weren't talking about the broader issue of how many
No.
of these dispensaries can there be in Contra Costa. We weren't really part of that conversation, at least I wasn't. No. You probably were.
My dispensary has been there for 20 years.
We know that.
There could be some type of priority consideration for a grandfathered in business. And there was no, and I was part of some of those meetings. There was no consideration given to someone who spearheaded the whole cannabis ordinance for Contra Costa County.
Yeah.
So this is not just for urban
We weren't
soil,
part of
it's
it either.
also for med delivery too,
So-
that was there.
I'm sorry, to interrupt. I would just say that perhaps we could have John or a person who was involved in the formulation and execution of that policy give us an update and a presentation on this, and then we can consider Dr. Soil,
Nurse.
Dr. Nurse's,
Yes.
Dr. Nurse's request, and
Yeah, I can reach out to John, and I think Ruben Hernandez was a part of that also.
sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't.
And I think the other part of the discussion would be how Dr. Nurse's dispensary fits in with this or doesn't fit in with this, or what the difference is, because as she said, that dispensary, it's been under different owners, but it was there when I moved down Sobrante about 5 years ago. So it's not new ownership, yes, but new facility, no, it's been there a long time.
We're only the 3rd license,
Right.
holder.
So, but that's where we'll have the discussion on this further is at the next meeting, when we have, like I said, the whole picture, as it were. But we thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you, and I just wanted to share this, that why diversity and inclusion is so important in this industry and in this,
And it's just a highlight of myself and my other business partner, who's a third-year law student, that was George, who wrote me into this. So in California, there's less than 2% Black ownership, and the county has not even acknowledged me yet, as of yet, they're working on it, I hope, as the first Black owned throughout Contra Costa County. It's something that I'm proud of, but it's also something that I'm disappointed about as well.
Thank you so much for coming and, speaking to us. So what I suggest, Ronnie, is I think we can, without violating the Brown Act, maybe have a little email exchange between you, me, and George, just to figure out how to set the discussion up for next month.
That's an excellent idea. Okay. I think we have one more public.
I think it's also worth saying that, you know, it was quite a while ago that they finished all that process, and it is time to give some feedback on how that process
I
works.
agree.
So we can put it that way, you might frame it that way.
Yeah.
We now have some data and feedback about how that policy is or is
That's a
not
great
working.
suggestion.
So I put it that way, and then maybe they won't.
So if there are questions about equity, right?
Right,
And that
that the policy isn't working the way they wanted it to.
you know, this policy has been enacted, and we've had, what, 4 years that it's
Oh, it's
been,
longer than that.
well, it actually kind of just, the clock stopped with the pandemic and kind of restarted, right? For us.
And anyhow, there's a very. Yeah, there's data and Melinda
I
suggested.
think it's 2019 is when they actually approved the four,
Right.
and that's a while ago.
It's 5 years. We have some data on that, so I think we have one more public comment.
Yeah.
Mr. Conrad.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to do a follow-up on this, which was that because I saw the ad, I wanted to mention urban soils, what my comment was gonna be, but since she's here, I changed the tenor a little bit. But, there's a regulation in the state law about the distance between different things. Now, schools and stuff that have already had to have dealt with in order to get their original license, but I think it's a question of how far they are from the other dispensary at this point.
Right.
And so that might require a waiver, so that's something, if you could find out that distance, that would be helpful to know, right, going in, how to ask for a waiver, something like that.
So that means that artistry has to move.
No.
That's what they're-
Well, what are
You're medical and they're,
but Chris, what are
And that's why
they
they want to keep me medical.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
That may be it.
Way the state law is set up there.
We're not gonna accept.
So, okay.
So that would have to be.
So, but I think what we've done is at least, you know, what we can do as a council and bring it up.
We'll put it on the agenda. We'll try.
Absolutely.
We'll try, thank you. You know what, that's all we can do.
Right.
All right. So no more public comment?
Okay.
So I think we're good then. We're adjourned.
8:42.